Right, this is going to be a great video that a lot of people are going to dislike and hate me for, but this is my opinion on this game. I want you to know that if you're enjoying this game and you're loving it, I am so happy for you. All I've wanted since I saw the trailers was to connect to this game in a way that I connected to Destiny 1. And I thought that because they're putting, or they look like they're putting all the cards on the table with this DLC, that I would love it. Right now, I'm not vibing with it. Will I vibe with it in the future? Potentially. What they do in the year might change that. But right now, first impressions, I'm just not that connected to it, so I'm going to talk about why in this video. Now, secondly, this is not a slight on Bungie. You know, they've done an incredible job at doing what they've done for this DLC while working through a pandemic and working from home. I cannot imagine how difficult that has been. So for them to get to this point with this DLC, which is obviously a good DLC, I'm not disputing that. For what they've done though is unbelievable, and they deserve a lot of recognition for what they've done. So I'm going to try not to take too long on this video, but it might extend a little bit. So take a journey with me, listen, let me explain. Hopefully you might see my points. Tell me what you like and dislike about the game yourself. And first and foremost, let's start with the Throne World. Now, when I was first walking around this area or going on my Sparrow, I was like, oh my god, this place is massive. It's the first thing you realize about it is how humongous it is. The design and the aesthetics of, you know, the vastness of it is unbelievable. The design in terms of like coloring and how special and unique it looks, not that great for me. Like, for me, the way I describe it is, it feels like a kind of baby of Venus from Destiny 1 mixed with a Dreadnought and some Hive areas that we've seen before, just with different colors and slightly different appearances. However, I will say the place is massive, it's awesome, but it's just not for me. It's just like, okay. Now, the other thing about this open, expansive world is you should want to go and explore it. I never felt that from the moment I stepped into Seventh Rune's Throne World. I never felt the urge to go and find hidden rooms and secrets and, you know, things like that, because it just didn't feel like there were going to be anything for me to go and find. And that, for me right now, seems to be the case. They have this big, massive, wonderful, expansive area, but nothing to do in it. Right now, at least, anyway. Yeah, you can go and do your patrols, you can go and do all your bounties and stuff, that's fine, but that's no different from anything we've already seen in the game. And even the public events, you know, they've just used the Scorn one again in this area. And yeah, you do have that new public event, which is great, don't get me wrong, but the fact that the public event that's there pretty much from when you start in the Seventh Rune's Throne World is the one we've already seen before. It kind of irked me a little bit. I was like, oh, so we don't have a new public event. And that's not what you want to tell yourself when you're in a new world, in a new area. And then we have the only things that looks like you can go and find in this area are the deep site chests and areas that open up when you collect the dead site little ball thing. For me, there's nothing new there. It's just like taking the Ascendant vials in the Dreaming City and finding new platforms and, you know, chests and stuff to pick up. Except for me in this area, it doesn't seem worth going to pick up those chests. Yeah, you get Throne World reputation, that's fine, but you could just not find the deep site things and do bounties instead. I think out of all of the chests that I have found just going around doing random things, I didn't get anything significant as a reward out of the chests that I found. Even the chests that are just naturally on the planet, I don't think I've had like a single drop from them other than Glimmer and Throne World rank, and that to me just doesn't seem like going to worth finding. Like, it doesn't invigorate me to be like, oh, I want to go and search and find everything. It just means for me it's like, okay, so it's like any other Destiny, there's no point in getting these chests. Now I'm hoping with deep site tier 2 and tier 3 that changes, but unfortunately at the moment I'm just not at that point in the game. I will say one thing though, enemies in this area are pretty strong in how they hit you. Especially when you first land here, so that's a bit fun. There's a bit of challenge there. It doesn't take too long to get to a point where you can stand up to them, but in some of the areas that you go to, the enemies are a lot stronger. So I feel like they've got kind of like a balance across the board in terms of challenge and power of enemies in these areas, but it doesn't warrant me going to find them because it doesn't feel like there's any reason to do so. So while I love the design and the expansiveness, I just hope there's more things hidden and secret in this area that I've been able to kind of see so far, because at the moment it just feels a bit empty, even in terms of enemy population. Most of the time when you go around, you just see a small group of Scorn in an area, like one captain, whatever they're called in Scorn, and then a few grunts enemies, and you kill them in the gun. I don't know why I feel like it's empty. I just do. I don't know why. I hope it changes with the coming weeks, or maybe when I put some more time into it, but for right now, it's just a bit empty for me. Let's talk about the campaign. So for me, I've never been a big campaign guy, you know. I'm not fussed about story. I just want to get to end game, get weapons, get armors, build my character out, you know, use the mechanics in the game to play games like Gambit and Strikes and Nightfalls. That's my kind of experience with Destiny. The story, from what I've experienced, just, it's fine, it's good. I can see why people love it. For me, it's just another story that is a story. That's just my personal opinion though, and how I connect to games. Story's great, I'm sure, and I know why people love it, just not for me. One thing I'll talk about though is the light powers. Now, yeah, it's fantastic that they came up with this unique idea, and the marketing around it seemed like it was going to be this really big, challenging, crazy thing to take on someone with light powers and then kill their ghost. In actuality, it's not that difficult at all. When you first see the powers being activated, you're like, oh my god, this is fucking sick. The guy with the blade barrage who dodges to the side, I was like, oh my god, this is insane, and would kill you literally with one super. The Dawnblade, Savathun twins, when you're inside the head of whatever the hell you're inside of, that was pretty cool. You know, the Alec Hall boss who fires his little arc blasts across the map. I don't even know what that's supposed to be in terms of a super, but it's pretty damn sick. There's a lot of cool aspects to light powers. However, after the first couple of times, it just felt a bit gimmicky to me. It was like, oh, okay, I've seen this. Not that difficult to kill. I'm just going to kill them again. And it just, the worst thing about the light is those stupid little moth butterfly things. They're so irritating. They're the most challenging thing in the game. Just kidding. But for me, I would have felt better if in an area, say you've got 5 to 10 enemies, like 3 of the acolytes have light powers, but they're easier to kill because they're acolytes. One big guy with ridiculous powers, like blade barrage that you can throw across the map while, I don't know, doing a nova bomb the other way. And then a couple of other enemies that maybe would have some kind of light aspect to them. However, realistically, it's just 9 of those enemies have overshields, and then there's one big enemy with power. Once you kill that big enemy, it's not very difficult to get in and kill the ghost because everyone else is just easy to kill. So let's just say, for instance, there's 3 acolytes with light powers and a ghost that you have to kill. And you're killing them and you're shooting them and they all die, but then you have to focus on the big guy because he's attacking you. And while you're focusing on him, those acolytes respawn, or the knights respawn, or something like that. Because then you're in kind of like 2 minds on, who do I kill first? What do I kill first? Do I go for the ghost? Do I not go for the ghost? Is it going to be too dangerous? But for me, it just felt like, okay, kill all the little acolytes, kill the big guy, kill the ghost. Like, I don't think I've seen anything respawn in this game once because it's that easy. Yeah, I haven't done legendary campaign yet, so I guess it would be a little bit more challenging, but I don't think it'd be that much more challenging to go and get a ghost after you kill something. So it just felt a bit gimmicky. Now, I feel like those mechanics are going to come in really well into the raid. I think the raid is going to be incredible for light powers, and that's great. I won't be playing the raid personally, but I will be watching it and enjoying it, and I really hope they do smash the light powers out of the park when it comes to the raid, because those light powers deserve to be shown in the best way possible. And speaking about the gimmicks, the glaive, I made a video yesterday talking about how broken they are, and I still believe they're broken, but I just don't feel like anyone's really going to truly take a glaive over the weapons that they like. You know what I mean? Like, it's great and it's cool and it's new and it's different and it's unique, but I don't think it's going to be viable in most content. Like Nightfalls, you're not going to get close to enemies to try and melee them because of the simple fact that it's a Nightfall and you get battered. The raid, it's not going to be crazy useful. The exotic ones maybe, but I just don't see anyone taking a glaive over anything else that they like, that they want to use, that they feel is powerful enough to take on endgame content. However, running through normal strikes and the story and potentially something like Gambit, I think the glaive is pretty cool, and I just wish it did more damage. What I would like to see from the glaive is you have the normal melee stuff, pow, 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 you know, chopping people up. And then you have the long range blast. I would like to see them have an option. So say you're with your glaive, you press down and it changes you from a single fire shot from range to a charged shot. Now, if you think about the relic from Templar, that you have to charge it up and fire that big blast, I would love to see the glaive do something like that, where you can charge it up, blast one big blast, and it takes all your ammo. And then, you know, it does a big meaty chunk of damage. That way it can be thrown into raids and endgame content, because there'd be this viable big damage that pays off everything you're investing into the glaive. Now, potentially with weapon crafting, and as you get higher, it might get more viable and just a little bit more interesting. But for right now, it's just overpowered and not fun. Other than, you know, just the idea of smashing people in the face, it just doesn't feel like something that's viable outside of you personally just wanting to hit people. And the last thing I'm disappointed about, which is something that I never thought I would say, is Eververse. Eververse seems really crap this season. The armors are fine, you know, the ornaments, they're fine, they're whatever. They're not the best ornaments they've ever released with a season. They're not the worst. The emotes don't seem crazy good either. The Bollywood dancing one's pretty cool, but I can't even remember any of the other emotes that I looked at because they're not that memorable. There's no ghosts or ships to buy for silver, which blew my mind because, you know, specifically sparrows, you know, I spend a lot of money on sparrows. I put money into my account and I buy sparrows. So I'm a little bit upset that Eververse doesn't have more choice. Hopefully, maybe they're just holding it back and they're going to bring it in week by week. But, you know, the seasonal tab is only 3 pages long. And it's, you know, they got the ghost projections, the transmat effects, which, I mean, does anyone really truly care about that? They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 emotes, 3 weapon skins ornaments, and 2 ornaments for exotics, a finisher, and, you know, just the other stuff like the emote packs and the projection bundles and stuff. It seems empty, and I hate to use that word over and over again, but the Eververse, I'm just very disappointed in. Like, I really am. So what do I like about the game? You know, it's more of Destiny. It's new, it's different, it's something to look at as like, okay, I've been playing Destiny for this long. This is a brand new thing with, you know, a lot of stuff to do, specifically weapon crafting and build crafting and stuff like that. You know, Void 3.0, it gives you an excitement about Solar and Arc 3.0. They've done a really good job with a lot of things, but I just feel like for me, it's fine across the board with nothing spectacular. And that, I think that for me is why I'm not connected to it, because I want something big to be like, I love this specific thing or a few things. This is what I want to do and play every day. But now it's kind of like, oh, cool, Destiny, I'll play it. And potentially I'll make some videos or maybe stream it. But I'm not super excited to play it. So, Too Long Didn't Read. It's a very good DLC, but nothing spectacular. I think that's probably the best way for me to put it out there to the world, for my opinion. And like I said, this is my opinion. If you are loving this DLC, I am so happy for you. I hope you continue to enjoy it. I'll continue to play it. I'll continue to try to find a connection to the game. I'll continue to make videos. I'll continue to stream it. For me though, for right now, I'm just not vibing with it, and I hope that changes. Let me know your thinking down below in the video description. Thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.